Hello everyone and welcome back to part 10 of 21 where we take a look back at what I wrote about 1 year ago on the candidates who participated in the first Democratic presidential primary debate of 2020. And we are now on candidate Julian Castro. So this is what I wrote. Oh, and Castro entered the race on December 12th, 2018 and exited the race on January the 2nd, 2020. And this is what I wrote. Castro, the former mayor of San Antonio and Housing and Urban Development Secretary in the second term of President Obama. Castro was a finalist for Hillary Clinton's running mate in 2016 and has made many policy proposals since launching his campaign. His housing proposal is quite ambitious, in which he plans to eliminate homelessness in America. Castro has not really gained much traction in the polls, though. Castro is definitely one of the most disappointing candidates so far in the early campaign. Bottom line, Castro supports repealing a law that makes it a crime to enter the country illegally. Is an advocacy of open borders. Regardless of one's views on immigration, Castro is far outside the mainstream of American political thought. Castro will be challenged in the debates to defend those views. His defense thus far has been lackluster. And this was one of the things about Castro that I always noticed and I really found to be a little off-putting about him was he really wasn't interested in defending his views, in my opinion, as much as attacking the other candidates for their positions. And I just found that to be a little off-putting to me. Castro definitely ran a very progressive campaign. He ran one of the most progressive campaigns in American history. If you look at the issues, he ran a much more progressive campaign than Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. And really near the end, in my opinion, I think did some disservice to himself by essentially insulting the voters of Iowa and New Hampshire. And look, there's reasons to criticize why those states go first, but I think those states have a solid case, in a sense, for going first. If you look at the voting history of the states in recent presidential elections, they're relatively close in the general election and switch back and forth. New Hampshire has voted with the Democrats since 2004, but it's always been relatively close. Iowa voted for Al Gore, voted for George W. Bush, voted for Barack Obama twice, and voted for Donald Trump in 2016. So it's definitely a swing state. And I think that shows that the voters in those states take a serious obligation to the right of voting. So I do believe they should go first. And that their smallness helps them in a way. It helps candidates really discuss issues with voters in a one-on-one aspect. Voters who take their early status seriously and take a lot of time to decide who they're going to support. If we went to a system of a national primary or a much larger state going first, it would be about who has the most money, who can get on TV, and who can dominate the airwaves. And voters wouldn't get that one-on-one opportunity to really whittle the candidates down. And you may get a scenario where voters aren't able to process, that the candidates aren't as worried much about one-on-one interactions and really forming an argument for their positions as who can have the best TV ad and the biggest crowds at airport hangar rallies in the larger cities. So I am totally against this ideal that we have to have a national primary or may need to go to a larger state going first. I think Iowa and New Hampshire should stay first, followed by Nevada and South Carolina. Now, maybe you could get to a scenario where you switch between those four, but I am definitely opposed to going to anything outside of those four being first, because I believe that they do a really good job of helping whittle down the field and also making candidates really focus on the aspect of gaining a vote, going to a voter and asking them to support them to be the next president. That's all for this video. I'll see you tomorrow.